What's up, y'all? It's your boy Tej, and today I'm gonna be showing you guys how to make a sample beat for J. Cole and Joey Badass. So, without further ado, I'm gonna hop right into it. So, I started off by finding this this like 70s type of soul sample on YouTube, and this is kind of how it goes.
Talking about love, talking about love.
So I'm not gonna play the whole song for copyright reasons, but just to start out, that's kind of how it goes out. And I found like these chops of the song that I want to use. So we'll go here.
You broke my heart and you went away. And love is gonna rain on you.
And so now what we're gonna do is I'll double click on these, and then we're gonna go into Edison and edit this. So we're gonna want to click Control E, and then where this sample rate is, where it says 44,100, right click on that. And then we're gonna shift it to about 15,000 as our new sample rate. Click resample, accept. And so now it sounds a little more lo-fi, so it'll kind of give some more room for the drums. And so now in order to put this in our playlist, we're just gonna take this button right here, drag and drop it into our original one, and now we have it right there. And then, so we'll just do the same for all the other ones. All right, so now that we've changed the sample rate on all those, we've got all of our samples kind of lo-fied, if you will.
You broke my heart, love.
So now if we zoom in, we can see that these aren't like perfectly on time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna double click on these, and we are going to set these to auto. We're gonna go to the stretch right here, click that, and we're gonna stretch it to quantize it to that measure mark. So this one's already quantized, we're still gonna wanna do that. And so what we're gonna do, drop these in our mixer. So at the moment, they're still kind of harsh. There's kind of like this flickering sound that kind of comes from it since we time stretched it. So how we're gonna alleviate this is we're gonna up the BPM just a little bit. And so for me, I like to do my boom bap drums in the range from around 65 to about like 90-ish BPM. And so we're just gonna kind of adjust this and see what sounds good.
Talking about love. Talking about love. Talking about love.
And so now that we've routed all these into our mixer, notice that there's like some low end to it. And so we're just gonna kind of cut that out.
Talking about love. Talking about love.
The reason for that is that when you cut out that low, it gives more room for like your kick and your bass sounds when you're arranging your drums and stuff like that. So we've already kind of got our sample chopped up. We'll play around the pitch a little bit, and then we can move on from there.
Love, I know you don't believe it, girl, but love will rain.
And another thing to kind of make your beats sound a little more lo-fi is you can open up Fruity Love Filter, and it's not gonna make a very severe low cut, but it's just enough to where like it'll kind of cut out more of those highs for like if you really want your artist to kind of go in on the verses and stuff like that.
Talking about love. Talking about love.
We'll kind of use that for later, but definitely keep that in the back of your mind. Like if you're ever arranging it and it sounds a little repetitive, you can definitely spice up using that. All right, so now that we've done that, we can move on to our drums. And personally, I really enjoy using the My Drum kits. His early drum kits, the My Drum Kit 1 and 2, are really good that I've used. Definitely recommend using those. They have some really good like perc loops, snares, etc. So what we want to start off with is we kind of want to start off with like a snare sound. And I think something sort of this timbre will probably work the best for a boom bap beat, and we just want to put it on these red notes right here, the one beat on these red notes, which I believe are the 2 and 4 beat. And so we'll kind of get this sort of
Talking about love.
And so it's just going to be real basic. The snare's going to be on the 2/4 beat, rather. And so I'm going to be using a pre-made perc loop from one of these kits, and we can kind of build on that.
Talking about love.
All right, so now we got our perc loop added. We're gonna add a little open hat. For boom bap beats, a lot of your like kind of swing or like the head nodding is gonna come from the kick. You got to have some really bouncy kicks to kind of complement the rest of your drums. So now that we got most of the drums arranged, now we're gonna kind of add that like swing, that sort of vibe that makes you nod your head or bob your head. Give it like that human feel. It feels like, especially when you're making beats, like if you're drawing in the notes and stuff like that, you're not playing it in my hand. They're gonna sound kind of robotic. Like especially the perc loop and the snare, they sound really, really quantized, which is fine. But with a boom bap beat, you really want it to kind of have like a little bit of bounce to it, so it sounds like it's being played live. Like they'll sound really, really on beat. So now, in order to change that, there's this little swing knob right here, and so what we're gonna do is turn this up a little bit, and you'll hear that. So when we turn the swing knob up, there sounds like there's a little bit of kind of a bounce that you get with a perc loop that you wouldn't otherwise get if you just left it normally a slice like this. So we put it all together, the rest of the instruments sound like this. And then so now for the final touch is we're going to add a plucked bass, typically like an electric bass sound. You can get plugins like Xband. You could use things like Omnisphere or whatever. They have pretty solid electric bass sounds, but if you don't have plugins like that, that's fine. You can use the stock FL sounds. Like if you go down to this section here, you go down to packs, and then there is the instrument section. You click on that, bass. There's a few that work pretty well. And all these bottom four, from Classic 80 to Templated, they're all stock electric bass plugins. And I wouldn't say there's like one go-to, but just kind of mess around and see what really works for you and what works with your sound. So now we have our bass. Word of advice when you're arranging out like bass sounds, 808s, just lower pitch things, put them up an octave or two. That way you can kind of hear the notes better. That's why I was arranging it like this. It'll be easier to figure out if your bass sounds are in key. And so our drum pattern's pretty much done. And at this point, we're just going to do arrangements. We're going to be taking out notes and whatnot. And yeah, so let's get started on that. All right, so that's pretty much it in terms of arrangement. I'm just going to add like a couple transitions here or there, and I'll put the finish beat at the end. But for that's it. Thanks for watching. Check out some of my other videos. Leave some recommendations in the comments, and go check out my other social medias. Follow my Instagram, and that's it. I'll see y'all later.
broke my heart and you went away. And I sit here and suffer.